So this week we are going to be doing some watercolor washes on top of our book pages that have already had a gesso wash applied to them. You can make whatever you want on these. I have a tendency of starting to make something and then have it go very different from what I intended, so that's perfectly okay. As an example, the other day I was trying to make a leaf. This is what happened. It is not a leaf. It is something out of a bestiary. Not quite sure what happened, but not a leaf. Anyway, we're going to see what happens today. I really don't have a plan, but I'm going to start, as we often do with watercolors, with my lightest color first. And because I just like to freeform some shapes, I'm just going to start making some light patterns, and I'll see what ends up coming of it as I work around. But I'm going to just make some nice long flat brush shapes with this. Now, as this works through whatever it's going to be, I can either wait for it to completely dry before I add layers on top of it, or I can apply them wet. It's really up to you and what kind of watercolor image you want to have happen as your end result. I will say that I've noticed they do tend to dry fairly quickly on these gessoed book pages. I'm going to apply a little green, I think, up here, and have it blend. You can see the yellow peeking through. I want a little more water on that though, I think. So I'm going to brush. This paper will not take as much water as a traditional watercolor paper will. We did back it with poster board, so it has some heft to it. We will say that, but it's not quite as absorbent. I hope everyone enjoys this craft. Since it's fall, you might decide to put a leaf on it. You might go with the theme on the page. I have Sir Gawain in the Green Knight. I am obviously not doing anything. I'm just playing with patterns. I'm extremely fond of greens, so I think that's part of my impetus for playing with them here. Okay, I think I'm going to add a little blue. And so for the blue here, so I'm working on this ovaloid shape with the blue. Has a bit of a couple spiky protuberances. As I said, I tend to end up with things like out of bestiaries, so I'm not quite sure what I have just yet, but I think I want a little more water in there. Another good reason to have paper towel around while you're making these is that it really works well to blot. And that looks really weird right now, but I'm about to go over that with some more paint. I think I want a little of my green in there, actually, as an undertone. And then I'm going to add some of my blue back in. Blotting can sometimes help you fix some of your mistakes as well. Okay. Now we're getting some of my blue back in there. Make it a little spiky. Okay, I'm going to add some tips of blue, some little highlights as I go through here. Each of your packs will contain up to 3 colors. We will make sure they're all complementary so that that they will work well together, so you'll be able to mix them and do all kinds of work. I'm going to even some of that out because I don't like what's going on there. There we go. Okay. And that is what I ended up making. I hope everyone has fun and enjoys their pages and creates whatever they want to make, and I really hope that you post your creations on our Facebook page so that we can see what amazing things you create too.